That's so weird.
So when someone says, I want to suck your guac,
Yeah, dude.
I think that literal.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
so strange.
I just don't understand like why a woman was just sitting there and was like, "Man, you know what this tastes like? Clean dick, clean dick."
Right.
Why do you have to specify?
Why do you have
Why
to
do you-
specify
why do you
it
have to
clean
specify it's
dick
gotta be
and
clean,
not
dude?
clean dick? Like, I'm not real sure
Yeah.
what's going on there.
Yeah, why you got to specify clean and dirty?
Yeah, right.
Like, what does dirty taste like if clean tastes like an avocado?
I don't know. I don't know at all.
Like a shot of
Whoa,
fucking
hold
Jose
on.
Gold.
What's going on? This is weird.
What'd you do now?
Hello?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Yeah, I can't.
What? Put the headphones on. It's a phone
Oh,
call.
I heard it.
Strange, yeah. What's your favorite scary movie? Tyler?
I don't like scary movies,
Nobody
dude.
has a favorite scary movie. I mean, do you like scary movies?
Occasionally.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of scary movies, dude.
I don't understand what's
You
going
don't know this, but I'm inside the podcast studio.
What? Where? It's a pretty small space, man. I can't see anybody. Like, that's Octavius. We don't. Where are you? Why? What are you doing?
I heard you were having a spooky episode, but I was wondering if that bitch Tyler Me could even handle me being here.
Whoa! I don't think there's any reason.
Did Patrick record this?
I don't think there's any reason to have to take personal stabs at my friend Tyler. Okay, like that's a little strange. Like, who are you? Like, what's going on?
It's not important who I am, Sean B. What's important is that you listen very closely to what I'm about to tell you.
Okay, I would love to do that, but I'm a little busy right now. I see we're actually doing a podcast right now. Like, we're doing something. Like, we're busy. Like,
Oh, you guys are gonna have like a real podcast?
yeah.
Okay. I'll hang out. What's the topic?
The radio voice
tonight,
isn't
gentlemen?
your radio voice isn't that good. And like I said, we've already got a guest. His name's Matthew. Really nice guy. Like, you weren't invited. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you weren't invited to the show.
That's just fine. Well, listen up closely. You better watch your backs because I'm still in the studio.
Okay, but where? Like, nobody can. Like, what do you want? Like, what do you want to say before? Like, what the fuck is going on?
What do I want?
Yeah.
I want to tell everyone listening to follow the Mind Snacks podcast on YouTube at
That's really nice.
Mind Snacks.
At least he's got our
It's
back.
actually really nice of you
least he's
to
got
say
our
that.
Whole thing,
Oh yeah,
Sean B.
yeah.
There won't be a podcast tonight.
Why not? What are you talking about?
Enjoy the dark.
Just so you guys know, I fucking.
What do I
All that did it all myself. That was pretty cool. Actually, we're really here. That was just a joke.
I was gonna take that for being Joe Compton
That was pretty good.
or Patrick Hamilton. The way he
that
called
worked.
me a
I-
little bitch.
I feel like I knocked that out of the park.
That's pretty good.
I sit here and made that like before you guys got here.
That's
I was
pretty
like,
big. That's pretty good, dude.
Like, yeah, fuck yeah. That's a spooky episode, you know what I mean? You got to have a scary movie moment with all that shit going on.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. Welcome to the Mind Snacks podcast. Tyler, me, how the fuck are you doing?
Good, dude.
Yeah.
Good. A lot happened this week. Fucking Amelia took her first step.
Ooh, Amelia took her first steps.
Like, I mean, she's taken a few steps before now, but like, she popped up on her two legs and just fucking walked across the living room. First steps, right? Like actual first.
Like
steps.
walked across the living room first steps.
Yeah, like we ate dinner at Brian's last night, and she was popping up, walking all over the place.
Dude, hell yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's not real good at it, but she like can make it from point A to point B as long as there's no obstacles in her way.
Okay.
Yeah, she's good. She's doing good.
Not bad.
Crazy, dude.
Not
It's
bad.
crazy.
Been a wild week.
Yeah,
I went to Vegas.
yeah.
Yeah. Vegas was great. Didn't win any money, but I did discover the beauty of live Keno.
Live Keno.
Live Keno.
Not
It's
on
the
like the-
oldest man shit in the world to do. But if you sit at Keno for 4 hours and get all the free drinks, $120, and you play Keno for 4 hours and just get free drinks on top of free drinks. I had like 17 screwdrivers. I didn't win a fucking thing, Tyler. I had a time of my life.
Is it like
Keno,
you mean they
Keno's
have
where there's 80 numbers.
Yeah.
You pick
But
one
we
through
normally
10
do
of
that
them.
like on like a shitty screen.
Yeah.
They have live version of that.
Well, yeah, you sit in a room and everybody's watching the same shitty screen.
Oh, I thought there was like a person out there doing something.
There is, well, so yeah, it draws like the balls like bingo.
Okay.
It's pretty badass.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. 4 hours, $120. Every afternoon in Vegas from here on out, you'll see me in the fucking Keno Hall with the fucking senior citizens.
You want me to take your walker with a fucking horn on it with us?
Yeah, let's go.
Fucking
Get the,
Pat
not the little squeak horn though, right? Tyler, we got an exciting night, dude. It's Halloween, one of my favorite holidays. Well, it's the day before Halloween, one of my favorite holidays.
Hallows Eve.
Yeah, I think All Hallows Eve I learned today is actually Halloween.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm going to tell you. Our guest in studio tonight is, first of all, one of the most beautiful men I've ever met in my life. Like, aesthetically, just a beautiful guy. But not only is he a hairstylist, baller-ass barber, but real-life ghost hunter with the coolest stories you'll ever fucking hear. Do you own Paraholics, or is that your thing? Yeah, owner of Paraholics.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matthew Jackson, welcome to the studio, sir.
Hey, thank you.
How you doing, buddy?
What? I can't live up to the introduction.
I think you can.
no, this is difficult.
I have full faith that you can do this. Full faith.
well, thanks for having me, man. I'm
Of course,
excited to
dude.
be here.
Yeah, of course. I gotta center this thing a little bit. Oh, that went the wrong way. Yeah, see, it's still it's still bootleg as shit in here. Like it's not like
That's all right.
you know, we're just doing the best we can.
Right,
You know,
right,
we're not quite, you know, Burroughs applesauce level, you know. But
Oh, yeah.
we're trying real hard.
Those guys.
We're trying real hard.
Wow.
So what's new and exciting, man? I haven't talked to you. It's probably a year.
Yeah, it's
Since
been a
you were
year.
here with Mike and Derek.
Yeah, last time I was here basically to kind of bust your chops a little bit over the Mill Raised Monster. You were running for mayor, and
Yeah.
I was trying to promote.
That's
a
what it was.
Mill Raised Monster.
I was
Fest.
supposed to do something for the Mill Race Monster, like a Monster Fest. Did you know about the existence of the Mill Race Monster?
I mean, I've heard.
Yeah, see, I'd never heard of it at all.
Well, they used to do like they used to do the Christmas lights there and put the monster in the lake all the time. Right?
Well, I always wondered, and I
I
figured
think
that
what
was
I've
just
heard-
a play on the Loch Ness Monster.
yeah. I don't know. Wasn't there like a newspaper article about it and stuff?
The Mill Race Monster. There's been apparently lots of publications.
Yeah, it was a
About it.
Chicago Tribune, Courier Journal. I mean,
Really?
oh yeah, it was regionally. It was like a big deal.
That's insane. And like I said, until I met Matt, I had no idea
Yeah.
that was in existence. Now, when you talk about like ghost hunting, though, like you didn't really like ghost hunt for the Mill Race Monster. Or like, what do you do there?
I'm looking for the ghost
Well-
of the Mill Raised Monster. No.
No, I don't. I was curious. I was like, is that a thing that we can do? Because I'll fucking hang out at that lagoon. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Well,
thing just
no,
creeps me out, dude. I don't think it's that deep, is it?
what's that?
Like that round thing at Mill Race, like that round pond
Well,
thing.
he wasn't supposed to be like a water creature. He was like like a greenish, like Bigfoot looking creature.
Okay.
Holy
yeah, like
shit.
See, I always thought it was like a
Sasquatch.
water thing. I was afraid to death of that
No,
fucking.
no.
And I think it's only like 4 feet deep or something. I think it just has like moss and shit in it. It makes it look deep. I really think it's not very deep.
Well, November 1st is his 50-year anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of
Interesting.
crazy story.
50 years, November 1st.
November 1st. So
So that's
the
a-
date-
that's-
this Friday.
That's a lot newer than I thought it was then.
Yeah,
You know,
1974.
okay. See,
Yeah.
I was thinking I was back in the 30s and like Death Valley days.
Oh no, this is what
Is kind of where my brain went with that
Yeah.
because you got to think Death Valley. I mean, that area had to be scary as shit anyway. If you've heard anything about it ever,
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my brain went. But this is the 70s.
Yeah.
It was a park by then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a park, yeah.
So
and that was part of the deal is the once it had like 4 sightings within 8 days, and so many people showed up either wanting to see the creature or kill the creature.
Yeah, right.
They were showing up with shotguns and all kinds of stuff and knives, and the police had to shut down the park for weeks until the fervor kind of died down because of somebody was going to get hurt.
Sure.
Whether it be the Milray's monster or just somebody in the park. So
that's like one of those things like when they see things like that, like I want to see someone kill a Bigfoot, right? Like or kill something.
Why do you
wanna
want dead though? I just want to capture him.
Yeah, dude, but I think just like killing it and like I don't think you could capture something like that. I think you got to like trophy.
You might
hunt
be able
it.
to capture.
I think you got to.
What do you know about Bigfoot that would make him uncapturable, Tyler?
I want to hear this.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like if he was capturable,
I mean, maybe not for you. You're 5'5", so maybe not you.
I feel like if he was,
but someone larger,
someone would have captured him by now. You know what I mean?
That is a fair statement.
See, people don't always hunt Bigfoot. Like they hunt them, but like they don't always have like means to take the trophy, right? If you got Bigfoot mounted, would you have him mounted like with his like? Does he have like a dog dick or like a human dick? Would you have it like?
That's a valid question.
Would you have it like?
Why do you have to mount him with this? Like,
well, like,
can you let him hang there on your wall forever with some fucking
no, I was
dignity?
gonna do like a full body one. Like, but what do? Do you like leave it or you have him just tuck it in or what?
I think you first of all have to find Bigfoot and figure out what it is. Is it a red rocket? Or
I don't
is
know.
It a
I
human?
see, and I don't know.
I have theories, but I'm not going to like discuss them.
He's like, I put a lot of thought into this.
Why? That's literally why we're here.
I don't lose sleep over it. Like
I'm just wondering, man. Like that's one of those things. Like if you would, because I mean, if they kill Bigfoot, right? He's going to the Smithsonian or something. I'm like, wow, dude.
Well,
Bigfoot shouldn't have been his
so
name. He could have thought of another nickname for the guy.
If they find at Bigfoot, first of all, you have to think there's more than one.
Oh yeah, there'll be plenty of Bigfoots.
Yeah. Is it Bigfoots or Big Feet?
Oh fuck, I don't know. Big feet.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
A group of Bigfoots.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of different schools of thought on the whole Sasquatch phenomena, and if you really study the history,
And neither of us do.
right,
By the way.
so especially if you look at the Native American lore, there seems to be like this line drawn in the sand where some of the stories, it's almost like Sasquatch was more of a interdimensional, ethereal, or nature spirit type of thing that comes in and out of our existence. So
Kinda like the Lorax.
the likelihood of like physically encountering a Bigfoot is not very good.
Okay.
But then there are like stories of like hairy tribes in the Northwest
Sure.
that are also considered to be like early Sasquatch type stories, where there are stories of like, Native Americans actually having trade relationships with these hairy tribes and also warring with them. So the Sasquatch story is a little bit more interesting than just like the 1968 like Patterson Gimlin film or whenever that film of the hairy thing walking around across the creek bed. So there's crazy ideas and concepts out there about Sasquatch.
Yeah.
But the dick thing, that's something to worry about, though.
That's something to worry about, dude.
Yeah.
Like that thing could be a weapon. You don't know.
Find Bigfoot, and dude's just got a unit, and they're like, they always give it to the dorks.
Yeah.
Every fucking time.
I'm just like, I see one in the woods. I'm like, stop! Show me your dick. Let me see it.
I'll let you go.
I just want to see your dick. He just
Meanwhile-
looks at me.
Meanwhile, again, I bring up that you're like 5'5", so he's probably not stopped. He's probably not afraid of you at all.
You've probably walked up to him in the woods and didn't know it because you're like at dick level.
Oh
and didn't
yeah,
realize
dude.
it.
I'm like, man, that tree knot looks a little weird.
He's just hiding.
Yeah,
He's like,
he
this
did.
guy looks like the drunken
like,
offspring of Chris Hemsworth
He's like,
and Ed
"Fuck."
Sheeran.
Bigfoot went back to his people, and he's like, brothers, you would not believe how long I had to hold this erection while this dude just stared at me.
This guy thought I was this guy thought I was a throatable oak, and I just had to stand there.
Yeah, a throatable.
Throatable.
He's
had
like,
to
yeah,
stand
he's
there.
like, guys,
Don't
you would
move.
not. I could not move a muscle.
Somebody needs to call Webster because you just invented the word throatable. Like that's a thing that just happened right here
Write
on
it
this
down.
fucking
Yeah,
show.
wait it down.
Throatable. Anyway,
That's how you start comparing things. He's like, man, that thing looks pretty throatable.
Throatable. That's throatable.
Man, that's
like that's how
throatable.
maybe that's how chicks already talk about us.
Oh, maybe we didn't make it up.
That dude looks throatable as
yeah,
shit.
he looks throatable as hell. Dude.
Might need to change the name of the podcast.
My mom, yeah,
Throatable.
throatable.
Hey,
snacks.
hey, I got on my grinders app today.
We'll have like a movie
Ordered
series.
Mancinos.
Yeah, off grinders.
Throatable. Yeah, I got on grinders and
Yeah.
ordered my Mancinos today.
We had previously discussed the fact of Mancino's having an app called Grinders, and then getting it mixed up. The juxtaposition with Grinder.
I was just trying to order some Mancinos.
Maybe your Italian Stromboli shows up and he's 6'6" and he has a fucking Corvette. It's whatever.
Whatever, dude.
Wow.
But anyway, God, see what I mean? Sometimes it's the rails here, and then we're in
we go off of a lot.
Lawrence
Yeah, it's
County,
good.
hanging out looking for Sasquatch. Like, I wonder what that penis is all about.
Dude, that means valid thought.
Yeah.
Valid.
It's semi-valid.
I mean, you got to know what you got to know what you're up against.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's fair.
Like, it's like a dog thing. You just like, whatever, dude. When you stand up, it goes inside you. And he's like, yeah, you too. And I'm like,
Shit. Matthew,
Yes.
thank you again for coming to the studio tonight. Gonna spend the next 45 minutes learning all about you and what you do.
Okay.
Because we're fucking jacked to learn about it, man. Like, I think anytime you talk about ghost hunting, it's intriguing, whether people believe or not.
Right.
And I know there's one particular person in the comments that is very staunchly a non-believer in the paranormal.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'm going to watch and see if you can prove me wrong. And I was like, just so you know, our 1 hour podcast with a ghost hunter probably won't prove you wrong.
No.
I was like, but what I do know is that there are some cool stories to be told and some real reasons to believe that what you're seeing from time to time is more than just what we perceive as reality. And I think that is the important thing, is understanding, like, no, they're not going to come from behind your fucking curtains, with their own sheets on, like, ooh, okay, you got me. It's not going to work like that.
Right.
But to see evidence of a reality that's different than what we think of as real
Right.
is very cool. And I know that you've had some instances like that.
I have, yeah.
That I think, like I said, and I want to reference again when we talked with Mike and Derek, you had talked about the ghost that followed you. Definitely I want Tyler to hear that story and our listeners to hear that story, because that was the coolest thing. But just talk about like how you got started in Paraholics.
Well, I wasn't looking for Ghost when I got involved in this. I mean, Ghost were not on my radar. The paranormal was not on my radar, and I think that's probably why it had such a more of a traumatic impact on me, because it was nothing I was entertained by. It was nothing I was looking for. Of course, I like horror movies. I like things like that, but I wasn't. I didn't know that there was any type of methodology for actively pursuing any of that stuff.
Right.
Probably one of the first things that ever caught my attention was
I goofed. That's why I laughed.
Oh no, it's all right.
I saw my reflection in there. I don't know why I was up there while he was talking.
Camera guy's over here drunk.
That's all right.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So years ago, I was working at 607 Washington Street, downtown Columbus, and anybody who had worked there for like any period of time, the place is called La Mode. It's been a hair salon downtown Columbus for decades.
Okay.
And anyway, I was working there, and my coworkers, anyone who'd worked there for like a substantial amount of time would be like, "This place is haunted."
Okay.
And I didn't really know. I mean, I just kind of laughed, whatever. But one night I was there. I kind of forgot about this story for a long time. One night I was there, and it was the end of the evening, and I was there with one of the owners. And we had our two guests, our final guest of the evening. We were at the front of the space, like, checking them out, doing the rescheduling thing, all that. So there's just 4 people in the space. And at one point, all of a sudden we heard glass break in like the middle of the room. And of course, we all stop and pause because, it's an unmistakable sound, the sound of glass breaking.
Right.
And I was the only guy in there, so I guess that I felt obligated to go check it out. And
He's like, fuck, dude. I'm like, have you ever seen a movie, dude?
like, here we go.
I got this.
Yeah.
It's all me.
So, and I did this really weird thing where I kind of like creeped, like, what? And anyway, got into the middle of the cutting floor, and there in the middle of the room was a hand mirror. like off of one of the stations. And it's not like it was up above or anything like that. I mean, it was something that was laying on a flat surface, and it had to have like frisbeed like off of this flat cabinet
I can imagine like the middle of the floor and then stations off to the side.
on the sides.
So it would have had to
Yeah.
move like from the middle, not straight down.
No, it was
Wow.
like 8 feet out in the middle of the room, which even if it, I couldn't have even slid, where
Yeah.
this was, and there was just shattered, this broken mirror. And I just thought that was the strangest thing. And then I just like dismissed it, it's
Right.
like, cause logically it made no sense. I didn't make it, I couldn't make heads or tails out of it, but that was like one of the first, instances of something like strange being observed in a location that was allegedly a haunted location.
Right.
But it was years later when I actually saw something really strange in there, like this apparition, like mist type thing that I couldn't debunk. That's the one that got me super freaked out. And it was something that happened early in the morning. I flipped on all the lights and I seen this like human shaped mist figure in the middle of the room, the same area like where the mirror would have been, just
Right.
in the middle of the space. And, logically my brain went to somebody left on a hot tool, something short circuited. I mean,
Right.
there was a logical reason for there to be this like, smoky looking
Yeah.
thing. And so I instantly started walking towards it to investigate. And the closer I got to it, the more it like started to shift away from me. And as it shifted, it got thinner and thinner and thinner, and then just whisked away, completely silent, which I instantly started questioning my sanity. Like that
Sure.
was freaking weird. And I spent the next, probably 20 minutes trying to figure out what that was, man. I checked all the outlets. I checked everything, trying to find something hot, something short-circuited, whatever.
Right.
And I even started questioning, like, did I really even see that? And a client of mine at the time was an architect who had an office right around the corner from where the building is. And I was telling him about it, like, you're an architect, you're a smart guy. What would cause that? And he's like, well, this whole block is haunted, right? And I'm like,
And people just say that randomly.
yeah. And I'm like,
willy-nilly, it's haunted.
yeah. And it's because he did research on the history of that block. And it turns out that basically the entire 6th block of Washington Street was where an old cemetery was.
Oh, wow.
And it was the original Catholic church, cemetery, nunnery, school, everything for this area. It may have been for a long time the only like Catholic church and burial ground between the Ohio River and Indianapolis. And it was a country church at the time. It was not even in city limits. We're talking like, early 1800s.
Yeah,
And-
city limits is down on the water
right.
at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, early 1800s. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're down on the water stuff that's really not anything now.
Yeah, right. and so they basically once there on was it like 8th and Sycamore where they built the St. Columba church. I mean, basically they used the church up until they got that constructed in the 1890s, and then they supposedly moved all the graves into like the city cemetery, which was a big deal too because they had to have a priest come and consecrate the cemetery so they could move the Catholics into it. Blah blah blah. But I also found email, and this is all through like the county building. I found old emails of people doing utility work on that block and hitting grave remains. And so it's all conjecture.
Yeah.
There's all these ideas of what a ghost may or may not be. And it's unprovable. It is completely unprovable. We have these ideas. We have the stories. We have stories from around the world, stories that are thousands of years old about, ghosts and spirits and so forth. But at the end of the day, we really don't know what is behind the phenomena. And so what I set out to do after I had some, crazy experiences like that, and I'm super curious and I start studying the whole subject, I, really knew that I couldn't prove the existence of ghosts, and nor do I care to change anybody's mind
Sure.
about the existence of ghosts. It's never been like my thing. But the one thing that I have learned is a good ghost story is an amazing device to teach people history
Yes.
and to keep alive stories that would have been forgotten and lost to time. If it wasn't for the ghost story attached to it, people wouldn't care.
Sure.
So once I kind of wrap my mind around that, it's like, okay, ghost hunting, that interest actually does a lot of good in preserving history and also historical buildings and structures.
Sure.
So that's one win for the ghost hunting community. The second thing is I can't prove what a ghost is, but I can document an unexplainable moment.
Right.
So through my pursuit of going into these amazing locations and history and so forth, I have captured anomalous voices, things I can't account for, and documented like these environmental changes that happen at the same time that something moves and then you hear a voice. So you get this cooperative collection of things that happen, and I can't tell you what caused it.
Right.
But I can't explain why it happened. So that's the difference to my approach. I don't try to change people's minds. I don't try to do any of that. I like hardcore, cool research,
Sure.
historical stories. I love that, and I do love capturing like some weird stuff.
Well,
And
yeah,
I let people decide for themselves.
For me, like the pursuit of capture would be the exciting part. Like not necessarily like I don't need the answers, but the pursuit of the answers is
Yeah.
where the learning is, you know, where
Yeah.
the research is, where you learn about why this may be, what happened here. That's really cool. And like I said, you talked about that briefly last time we spoke, you know, it was about the history of these areas that this
Yeah.
is happening in. And there's a lot of them here in Columbus.
Yeah, there actually
Just
is.
here in town, and then of course Indiana's got a lot to offer too from that regard.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is actually in Franklin, that like where the road splits and there's a grave right in
grave.
the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Neat stuff, man. And
Yeah.
the history behind that, it's remarkable. It's history I wouldn't have known if, you know, I wasn't following some chick up there like, I want to go see a grave and go see some ghosts, you know?
Yeah.
Not that my story is anywhere near as cool as the in-depth research that you've done, but it's along those same lines. Like, I wouldn't have known that piece of history and what happened and why that's there and why they never moved it if it wasn't for the pursuit of something
Right.
that I couldn't explain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool stuff.
And you know, the truth of the matter is, whatever a ghost may or may not be, we can't really tie it to like the proof of an afterlife.
Right.
But you know, there's so many questions that people have about like, is this it? Is there another existence after we pass on and so forth? And so people are naturally question and wonder about these things. And I think it's our ability to question and to explore those concepts that make it fun and exciting. I mean, nobody else has the ability. Like, I mean, deer don't sit around wondering what happens to them after they die, or anything like that. But we're the only sentience that we know of on this planet that has that ability. So, you know, for some people, you know, depending on their cultural or their religious beliefs or whatever, they can be very fearful about these and have like preconceived ideas.
Right.
I've tried to approach it with a completely open mind and just see what happens when you throw these noodles at the wall type of thing.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And that's like I said, that would be for me the intriguing part. It's what happens while the noodle's being thrown, not like, oh man, I found an answer.
Yeah.
I don't even know that I'd ever want the answer because for me, like, you know, unless like if it were a situation where like you were freeing a ghost of this prison they've been trapped in or whatever it is,
Right.
like solving something for them in their afterlife, which I've only seen in movies and heard about, you know, from one particular story of yours.
Yeah.
But, you know, just the pursuit of the knowledge of why that may be. Like, I want to know everything I can about LaMotte and that 600 block on Washington Street now, you know, and
It's crazy.
you know, and immediately once you had said the 600 block of Washington Street, the first place my brain went was the old maps of Columbus that I've seen. And I did a lot of that homework when I was running for mayor. Like I wanted to know everything about the history of the city as much as I could compact into 5 months of research.
Right.
And those old maps from 1861 and moving on and moving on and moving on, and how basically Water Street and First Street were pretty much it, you know, and then,
Yeah.
you know, to think the idea that 4th Street would be the edge of town.
Yeah.
And then the 2 blocks up 6th Street, there would be a country church
Yeah.
and a burial ground.
Yeah.
Like, but just learning that and being able to picture that in my head alone is already fascinating. I'm already so intrigued.
Yeah.
that I can see where the pursuit of that would continue to be addictive.
Yeah, and because I have a lot of people that help me with Paraholics, and one person in particular has just been an amazing researcher, and Paraholics.com was like the first people who came across. People always talk about the crump being haunted, and people
I
always
can see that place being haunted for sure.
Well, people always question like why are theaters haunted? Why are they haunted spaces? And it's like there's so much like folklore with like theaters and the ghost lights that theaters traditionally leave on and so forth. It's like, why are theaters haunted if nobody's died there? And the official word has always been nobody has ever died in the crump, but we found otherwise.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And not only did we find evidence of someone dying in the crump, I took it to the Historical Society and I'm like, prove me wrong. And so far, nobody's been able to come forward and say, sorry, you got this mixed up with something else, and I think you were in the wrong space. Everything that our research has found is like someone actually did die in the crump.
Okay.
And so to me, that's just another cool thing. I mean, that someone actually passed away there.
Instantly, you want to know how.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first thing I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, was it Abe Lincoln style, or did they have a heart
That's the
attack?
only way to do it in a theater.
Is that-
dude.
I mean,
That used to be the joke. It's like the only death I know of in a theater was the Fords.
right. It was a pretty
Yeah.
big one. 1865. For those
Yeah,
of
but
you who didn't know that.
He didn't actually die in the theater, though, right?
Check out some YouTube comments real quick. I thought Matt turned into a demon. I don't think he did.
Maybe they think the beginning intro. Maybe they thought that was me.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was
no.
a Golgothan shit demon, to be specific.
I
didn't
don't
know what that
even
was.
know. Again, I I was pretty proud of this little production of mine.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I was pretty proud of that little production of mine. And I want you guys to know that I completely and by myself executed and contrived that entire bit alone. Don't give these dumb fucks any credit. Okay. Kidding. Actually, that's true. So let me see here. Nancy Reagan POV. That's throatable.
Yeah.
Stay on Grinder, Tyler.
I can't get my subs on there, though. I don't even get subs from Encinitas. I get their pizza.
Right.
I mean, their grinders are good, but I get
I
their
believe
pizza.
it. All right. So a couple of Facebook comments here. My first pet is a ghost now. Okay. I think that's sad. I think that is sad.
It's be easy to take care of, though.
Yeah.
They don't really eat a
Not
whole
the
lot.
Matt Jackson I was expecting. That's okay, though. You know what? Matt Jackson, tattoo artist, also great person. I've
Yeah.
heard. I've never met him in person.
Yep.
But this is a different Matt Jackson. Keela says, "Oh, Matt, haven't seen him in like 20 years." And I don't even remember her maiden name. It was Sebastian for a long time now. It's Liz Guerra. She moved to Texas.
Huh.
I met her when she worked at Jackie Blues.
Oh, yeah.
Keela.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keela.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, Keela. Didn't they move the lady that was buried in the middle of the road? No. And then somebody else in the comments confirmed, no, still there. I have heard that the Crump is haunted. Joe, before this episode, you didn't even believe in that shit. So now that look at you go.
Yeah.
All right, growth already.
Growth.
Growth already. Well, before we move on, I definitely want to get some more of this stuff, but got to give a shout out to a couple of sponsors because I'm going to pay the bills in this fucking place. Just like home. I'm just kidding. Just like Home Doggy Daycare is the one place to take your pet if you need to go out of town on the road. Maybe you just want to get some daycare socialization. Maybe you just want to get away for the weekend. Whatever it is, Just Like Home Doggy Daycare's got your back. Just Like Home Doggy Daycare. Find them on Facebook at Just Like Home Doggy Daycare or on the web at justlikehomedoggydaycare.com. Listen, again, full disclosure, it's my mother's business. She's amazing. She loves these dogs. They have a great time. They're there in the house. They're treated just as they are, like living in the house. No kennels, no cages. We don't do that shit. Just Like Home Doggy Daycare. Again, go to Facebook, find Just Like Home Doggy Daycare or justlikehomedoggydaycare.com. You may have to be away, but for your pet, it will be.
Just like home.
Nice job, Tyler.
Nailed it.
Way to do that. Way to nail
Didn't
that.
someone screw that up?
Our
Brant
buddy
Miracle.
Brant, yeah, he fucked it up bad. Edge Construction, we are here in the Edge Construction studio, and of course, if you don't know who Edge Construction is, you need to reach out, okay? Because they're the masters of the industry. All right, Edge Construction, no matter what it is, they got your back. A little dirt work, site development, a little concrete, whatever it is, man. General construction, Give Brian a call. Brian, Maddie, Kelsey, the whole team, amazing people. Tell them the Mind Snacks podcast sent you. 812-343-3035. Edge Construction, they got you. We still need to make that commercial. Yeah, that needs to happen. I can just see Tyler me sitting on Brian's lap in a skid steer.
Driving it. Dude, I don't think both of us could fit in this.
I don't think so either. I think it'd be weird as shit
could try.
to try and see, but
We could try.
We'd give it a whirl. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you guys are just joining us at spooky episode with Matt Jackson here on the Mind Snacks podcast. Matt Jackson from Paraholics.com, also an amazing hairstylist, barber. What do you...
And, hair chopper.
Hair chopper.
I think when you do it on a girl, it's called the stylist, and when you do it on a guy, it's called the barber.
Yeah, I don't want to be a dresser. I don't want to dress hair.
Sure.
I like cutting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I mean, I guess he could classify me as a style. He could style mine probably.
Yeah. I don't want to get into why
Not barber.
or how we could make those comparisons.
I don't know.
I described Tyler to you before Tyler got here as a drunken offspring of Chris Hemsworth and Ed Sheeran.
She ran.
How'd I do?
I just hope they both remember that night because you're beautiful.
I hope they do too, dude.
You're beautiful.
They're
Look
like,
at that.
I just can't believe one of them
Turning
gave me
negative
up.
into positive, buddy. See, you thought we were shitting on you. I think you're beautiful myself, but I've told you that several times,
Yeah.
so many times that it's
I'll-
it's probably a little weird.
It's kind of weird at this point. It's kind of weird at this point.
Yeah. We've been at this for 5 years. Actually, the 5-year Annie's coming up, bro. The 5-year
Wasn't
Annie
our first one like
of the Mind Snacks podcast.
November? It was
27th. And guess what? Wednesday,
is the 27th.
November 27th. The 5-year Annie episode will go down on the exact 5-year Annie, bro.
Yeah, because I woke up in Ziggy's.
That's
parking lot
just
the next
miracles at
morning.
work.
Yeah, because it was
or
turkey,
the calendar, whatever you think.
Turkey Day Eve bar night.
Yeah.
I woke up in Ziggy's parking lot that next day.
Yeah. It was a good time.
Beautiful.
That's how this podcast started, with a whole lot of booze. We used to drink a lot.
And Impossible Whoppers.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, you chow down a full Impossible Whopper and about 16 Jaeger bombs, and you'll end up in a parking lot too.
Yeah, dude. You go to the fucking hospital. Any lesser man would go to be in the ER, dude.
Right.
Oh, funny.
So the salon. Do you own the salon? Do you just rent at the salon?
Well, I don't own the building, but
Okay.
the shop's mine.
But it's your business.
Where is it
And
at?
it's Salon
Parlor 424.
Parlor 424.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
on Washington Street.
Like I said, somebody at the bar asked me the other day. They were like, "Dude, where's a good barber?" And you were the first guy I thought of.
I appreciate
But I was like, when you want to look like an unreliable source, you say, "Oh, first guy I think of. Let me Google the name of his salon." That's what you want to do when you want to look like an unreliable source. When the guy's just, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you're full of shit."
I can't think of where he works, but man,
Yeah.
he worries about Sasquatch's penis.
Yeah.
Where's he at?
No, that's my friend Tyler. I wouldn't call you worried about it. You were more just like validating.
I'm objective.
Yeah.
you know?
I'm just curious.
Yeah. I mean, it's beyond curiosity at this point. We've discussed it almost as science at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But Parlor 424, and that's
Yeah.
downtown, 424 Washington?
Yep, that's
okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Look at me
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Putting context clues together.
That's the one on Washington. It's got the little outside. spinny
no,
thing?
No. That's up the street a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
is
didn't know.
Lamode still there?
Yeah, Lamode's still there.
Lamode's
Yeah.
still there. I remember that from my childhood, obviously. It's been
Yeah.
around for a long time.
And the cool thing about like the Lamode spot and where the 600 block continued to get weird beyond like the Catholic Church and the cemetery and all that is that seemed to be a hub where like some secret societies moved in. So you have that corner
Like the
building.
Freemasons and shit?
The Odd Fellows, they
Okay.
had their building there, which is still that corner building that sits on the corner or the like catty cornered from Viewpoint Books.
Okay.
So that was the Odd Fellows meeting hall, and in the building where Lamode is, above Hoosier Sporting Goods, which is now like they have like a batting practice thing up there.
Yeah.
But for years, that was owned by a secret society too. As a matter of fact, Hoosiers paid their rent to a group known as the Knights of Pythias. And so when all this is coming about Lamode being haunted, and then I start to find out the history of the entire 6 block, and then I find out that above Hoosier Sporting Goods is this old temple that basically all the local members had passed away, and essentially this lodge was abandoned, and all their stuff was still there. And the owner of Hoosier Sporting Goods, I was talking to him one day, and we were talking about the history of the 6th block. He's like, "Have you seen what's upstairs?" I'm like, "No." So he took me up there, and this lodge is up there. Not only is the lodge up there, but all their stuff. We're talking robes, swords, and all
They had
their
fucking
temple,
swords.
their throne room. And there, in the midst of all this, was a coffin with a real human skeleton in it.
What?
Shut up.
No, true story. And so the Oddfellows and the Knights of Pythias, they both used real human skeletons as part of their rituals. And so, the plot thickens as far as like the weird stuff on the
It's already thick as fuck.
Yeah, shit's thicker than pea soup, dude.
Yeah.
So, for the next like 10 years or more, I knew that there was an actual real human skeleton up above Hoosier Sporting Goods.
Do we know who it is?
No. And here's the thing. These lodges back in the day, one of the ways they got members, excuse me, one of the ways they really got members was one of the perks to joining these groups was if you died, they paid for your funeral. So that was like a big deal back in the day. That's why if you go into old cemeteries,
Big deal now.
yeah. If you go in a lot of cemeteries and you'll see like KAP, or you'll see Oddfellows, or you'll see the Mason symbol or whatever on tombstones.
Yeah.
That's because they were members and that group paid for their
paid for it,
paid
okay.
for it, yeah. But when it comes to like the skeletons and stuff, back in the day when it was legal to buy human remains, they had catalogs where these groups could get on and order articulated real human skeletons. And the source of those skeletons a lot of times came from just unclaimed bodies of people who passed away. And there's also allegations and stories of grave robbing that went on back then. But skeletonizing.
Grave robbing, like I watched a documentary not too long ago, and grave robbing, like you could make
a
like
big business.
3 or 4 months' wage in one night, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why it was so lucrative.
Well, H.H. Holmes, one of the original serial killers out of the Indianapolis area, and had the murder castle up in Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he was doing. He
where
was
the
killing
World
people.
Fair was at, yeah.
He was killing people for their skeletons, and that was like a side hustle for him, man. He was cashing in. He'd pick the victim, take a life insurance policy out on him, kill him, get the life insurance money, and then turn around and sell their skeleton. I mean, it was a good gig.
Yeah, dude, he won both ways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he was double dipping. But so knowing that this,
I mean, he was murdering people, so I think double dipping is probably the least of our concerns at this point.
Eh.
I mean, I don't know.
that's a great business model.
Absolutely.
This guy was getting paid twice.
Right.
Is this what we care about?
So anyway, the other thing that is a lot of times members would voluntarily donate their body to their lodge to be skeletonized for them to be a part of the rituals even after death.
Okay, I would do that.
You would do that?
Absolutely.
I think, yeah.
If I thought it was cool enough. Now, I don't know that like any of these secret societies are like I don't know how cool they are because I don't know shit about them.
Right.
Yeah, because they're
But-
secret.
Like right, but if I was part of something that I thought was bigger than me and this and that, like
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck yeah, keep it.
Yeah.
like keep me around forever.
Yeah.
I want to live forever. They were invent immortality and need a test subject. I'm your guy. I want to live forever. I do.
They need a test subject.
I do. I promise you, I do. I do. I don't know why, but I do. I want to live forever.
The sincerity of him smoking that cigarette when he looks us in.
I'm telling you.
I totally believe everything.
He's like,
And
brother,
so I'm gonna need some stem cell shit, okay?
He's
I'm
like,
gonna need some
boys.
fixing.
boys,
Okay, we know that.
I'm gonna need some medicine. But
I just want to do it like the jellyfish. You know what I mean? Like they fucking live for what? Who knows how many years? Stem cells.
are they
real.
are jellyfish out there getting stem cell research?
No,
stem cell therapy.
They're jellyfish cells. Their cells regenerate.
So we just
You know
got
how your liver regenerates? Their whole body can do it.
mine fucking needs to. So we just need to become part of jellyfish, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's basically what it's all based on. But that's not what we're talking about. I don't want to go on that tangent because I'll sit here and freak everybody out. They're like, why would you want to live in the year 2435? I'll be like, to say I'm 400 years old. That's why.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah. Just see what you're like, fuck, boys, we have gone backwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me tell you what, when I walked uphill school both ways, You guys don't even have any hills anymore. It's all concrete jungle.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I think that'd be cool. Like, I could see where that would be an honor, is what I was getting at, to like have your skeleton be the one that they use for the the rituals and this and that.
Right.
I could see where that would be a high honor for somebody who believed in that so much. So, like, I feel like if you're a Freemason, like you got to buy into that, right?
Right.
So,
well, during COVID, Mike Bodart, who owns Hoosier Sporting Goods, bought the building from the Knights of Pythias. And his brother Jeff Bodart, the comedian, is a good friend of mine.
on the show 2-3 weeks ago.
I'm sorry. That's right. Yeah, because I chimed in. I remember seeing that. He gets a hold of me. He's like, "Hey, man, Mike bought the building. He's freaking out because of the skeleton upstairs. What should he do with it?" And I said, "No worries. I'll be right there."
I got you.
So I went and got the skeleton.
Like,
Do you just have this thing?
how do you have no, not even that. How do you have a skeleton guy? I found a human skeleton. I know exactly who to
Yeah,
call.
he's like, I know who the guy
That's
did this
living.
Yeah, I know a guy.
You've done something right at that point. That's living.
to. He's like, don't worry, be there in 10.
Right.
He just riding around with it in his trunk.
He's got a pager.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. All right, we're out, boys.
He's just riding around. Yeah, he's riding around with the trunk. Cops pull him over like, sir, we need to look in your trunk. He's like, well, this is fucking awkward.
Right.
I literally just picked up a skeleton. Wait, what?
I was taking my grandpa to the doctor. We got lost. And here we are.
200 years went by.
Yeah.
So anyway, he calls you up.
Yeah, calls me up and he's like, "What do we do?" I'm like, "It's not a problem. I'll be right there to get him." And because for years, I mean, for at least 10 years, I've known about the skeleton be up there, and it was just so weird to me and fascinating.
Yeah.
There's like the idea of maybe this is a haunted object. There's those weird thoughts, but I genuinely had this whole thing of, man, I wonder if there's anything I can learn about the skeleton. Because I was so fascinated. Not as much by the secret societies, but like the fact that skeletonizing people was a business, And so I had these noble thoughts of like taking it to like a forensics place and having them see if they could find any information out about who maybe this person was.
Right.
And I did make contact, talked to a few departments, and everybody was into it. They're like, "Yeah, bring it in." But then I found out they would have shared the report with me, but then my skeleton was going to go in a freaking drawer and probably never to be seen again. I'm like, well, that's boring. And so
First, I have so many problems with that statement. My skeleton is the first one.
well, I felt attached by that at that point. I mean,
Look at that.
William and I, yeah, Billy Bones and
You
I.
named it William?
Billy Bones. You don't do much better than that.
Yeah.
You don't.
That's next level.
That's the next level shit, dude.
So they didn't want him to keep it.
Yeah, I didn't want him to keep it, but so I decided it was more important for me to find a museum that was willing to like use it as more of a teaching tool about that part of American history, secret societies, skeletonizing people. So I had Billy for about 4 years, and I actually finally found a museum to take him this past summer, and he's now permanently displayed at the American Oddities Museum in Alton, Illinois. And it really wasn't until I was driving this thing across the state line that I'm like, this actually could look kind of bad, me driving around with this human skeleton.
Did you put it in
my
the
car.
passenger seat so you could use the carpool lane?
It's a fucking
I was like, I don't know what would be worse,
you got a fucking weekend at Bernie's going on.
Yeah, dude.
But he's way gone.
I thought about if I was in a head-on collision and this thing would fly out my windshield and shatter into 1,000 pieces into an intersection.
They're like, oh my God, there was someone else in the car with him. Yeah, and he was 400 years old.
Yeah. Oh man.
You gotta carbon date these fucking
So
bones.
did you ever find out what kind of information were they ever to get anywhere near who that might have been or what they might have been?
No.
No.
Humans, but years ago, it seems like people were smaller. And even if you see the original opera house seats in the Crump Theater and you see how tiny they are,
Yeah.
I mean, this skeleton is really tiny. And it's like if you would have told me it was a teenage boy, you would believe it.
Yeah.
But that could have been a full-size man at that point because people were just much more petite.
Yeah, well,
So-
that makes sense. Everybody was smaller before the invention of fried chicken and cheesecake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
just
I
couldn't-
can
they just
believe
couldn't
that.
get the calories to
I was
grow.
also smaller before I discovered fried chicken and cheesecake.
They're like,
so-
we got to eat all this to
That's
become
fair.
big and
Yeah.
strong. We became the big part,
yeah,
not the strong part.
But my wife was not too happy about finding out that there was a human skeleton in our basement of the cabin we live in Brown County.
What?
That was
You
the
didn't tell her?
conversation.
okay,
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
How long was it there before you told her?
She found it.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You let her find it?
Well, I had it hidden, I thought, pretty well. In a
Did
trunk.
you have it before you were married or no?
It was definitely after.
You just got it and didn't tell her at all?
Well, she heard my end of the conversation when I first was when I was talking to Jeff Bodart about getting the skeleton, and she realized I seemed awfully excited, and I was forbade to not to bring this thing home. Like, you're not allowed to bring the skeleton. I'm like, okay. And so anyway, had it hidden away in a trunk in a little storage area. One day we're getting stuff out of storage, and her OCD ass notices this trunk tucked away, like way back in there. And her head does the full 360 exorcist move and goes, "What's in there, dead body?" And I'm like, yeah, actually,
yeah.
actually there is. You got me. So yeah, that was fun.
Was that a fight?
No, it was not a fight, but
Okay, good,
yeah, it was not a
good.
fight, but it was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, I got busted with the freaking.
I'll give her this. Like, having a skeleton in your
Yeah,
fucking
dude.
basement is a lot further of a stretch than like, oh, I had 5 beers instead of the 3 you told me to have. Sorry about that, babe. That's a fucking lot different, but that's fair. Okay.
Yeah,
All
funny
right.
stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So the paranormal has gotten me into some interesting situations.
Yeah.
You ever watch Mr. B or not Mr. Beast, Mr. Ballin on YouTube? He's like a professional storyteller, I guess.
I think maybe I've heard some episodes.
He like, dude, he can tell the shit out of a story, and like most of his stuff is like some paranormal stuff or scary stories. Like,
Yeah.
he's good to listen to.
Yeah. That's the other distinction with, how I try to present the places I go and the things that I find is, there's so much, the TikTok world, demons are the new black. Everybody's trying to create clickbait content.
Right.
Whereas, I'm actually trying to do credible, historical research, show that.
Sure.
And like, here's some weird stuff that kind of came along with it.
Well, it's strange because it seems like a lot of it would be a lot easier to get a click for like, look at this ghost I saw,
Yeah.
than it would be to check out the 212-year history of this historic cornerstone or whatever.
That's what I tell people. Like, if you're looking for like real haunted content, or the actual like research that's going into this, if you're looking on YouTube and you see the thumbnail and the person's face looks like they just stared into the butthole of Satan, it's probably not legit.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
You end up watching this video and you're like, what in the fuck did I just listen to?
Did
for
you not see the
45
chair
minutes?
move? Did you not see the chair move?
No, you're like, what did I just listen to for 45 minutes and like nothing ever happened?
yeah.
All right. So, man, it's been almost an hour already.
As it.
I'm not letting you get out of here without telling this story, though.
Okay.
You, I don't want to call her. You made a ghost friend once.
Yeah, you could call it that.
I have heard this story, Tyler. This is a great story. You want to talk about a great fucking story? This threw me for a loop. It's what got I combed through almost your entire website within the following 2 weeks of you being in here with Mike and Derek
Yeah.
because of this story. I was like, holy shit. I'm admittedly not that into the paranormal. I mean, I believe that ghosts exist. I'll just put that out there. But I also believe they probably don't want to hang out with me. You know what I mean? So, like, why would they?
Yeah.
Like, I lived 84 years on this planet to fucking stay in the afterlife and hang out with fucking Sean B. I cannot see any ghosts saying that ever.
They're just like, wow, bro.
But talk about it.
The story from the train tunnel.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
From the train tunnel.
The train tunnel.
Train tunnel.
Okay, so like I've tried to stay very objective in my whole pursuit of this stuff, and I've never looked at myself as like a fixer for like somebody and their ghost problems. I don't necessarily subscribe to any of that, you know?
Right.
I don't put myself out there to like, I'm going to freaking fix your ghost problem. But I do get a kick out of visiting locations that have these stories associated with them. And if you Google like top 10 most haunted places in the state of Indiana, one of the places that's going to pop up is called the Big Tunnel. And it's Tunnelton, Indiana. This little town of Tunnelton was basically the work camp that was there to build the longest train tunnel for the state of Indiana. And ironically, it's down south of Bedford along one of the forks of the White River. And a cousin of mine was getting married there, and I think this is like in 2016, 2017. And when I knew I was going to the wedding, my dad was going with me, and I was like, oh, hey, that's close to the Big Tunnel. It's a place I've never been, and I know it's supposed to be haunted, and supposedly some people died there. I didn't know all the details, but I told my dad, I was like, hey, if we're going to this wedding, you're going to have to deal with me going and checking out this big tunnel. So my dad and I went to the big tunnel and we walked it, and it's an impressive thing. I mean, the big tunnel is a neat spot.
Did they complete it?
Yeah. And I don't think it's as long as what it was originally. I think at some point they shortened it. But yeah,
It's still actively used?
It's still actively
Okay.
used. Yeah, even has like the little I don't know what you call them, but like recessed areas, like in case you're in the tunnel.
Oh,
the
you
train
can
comes
get
through,
down
you
in
can
there?
get back and let the train pass through because
Jesus,
of the
yeah.
suction that it creates, I guess.
Sure.
And it's in a really rural spot. You got to know where you're going when you're looking for this place. So walked through the tunnel, and at that time I like to experiment with audio when it comes to the paranormal and haunted locations.
Right.
And so the way that I do that a lot is by using like digital recorders where I'll just like ask questions, and you seem like a crazy person, like you're talking to like an empty room, or in this case a empty train tunnel.
Right.
And I turn on a recorder and just ask questions and give time for like a response, and maybe something happens, maybe something doesn't. A lot of times it doesn't. But when I reviewed the recorder audio right there in the tunnel, I heard a voice answer me back. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty trippy. But didn't really have time to analyze it or anything like that. So it wasn't until later when I went back and I started listening to the footage, I hear this voice that says, I'm Henry. Get me out of here, or something close to that. I'm paraphrasing, but it was around, it was something that sounded like that. And I was like, what? And I started looking up the history of the tunnel. And then, my friend, the researcher, she started doing history on the tunnel. And it turns out that years ago, back in the 1800s, when they had completed construction of that tunnel, that there was a night watchman there by the name of Henry Dixon, who was murdered in that tunnel. And he was basically trying to, there were some girls that were like walking, I think, through the tunnel at some point that got accosted by some guys. Henry saved them, and they think it was that group of guys that later, at a different time, came back and did Henry in.
Oh, wow.
And they tried to place him on the train tracks to make it look like the train, ran over him. So anyway, Henry Dixon is one of the ghost stories associated with the big tunnel that I was unaware of. I didn't know that detail.
Right.
And so shortly afterwards, I start going to these other locations, and I'm doing more of these experiments with audio. And when I'm running these devices, and some of the devices I have are geared more towards like real-time conversational type experiments versus just the review, like with the recorders. So I'm running one of these devices, and it seemed like something was trying to like chat me up and come through, because you could tell there's like a difference in the resonance of the audio. And I asked for a name, and it said Henry. And I was like, Henry? I was like, Henry who? And it said, Henry Dixon. And at that point, I knew the name Henry Dixon from the tunnel. And I was like, Henry Dixon? What the frick? I mean, I was not in the tunnel at this point. And so I'm trying to like reconcile in my head, like, how does this work? Why is Henry Dixon from the big tunnel talking to me like, miles away from this place, right? And I said, where did I meet you, Henry? And it said, the big tunnel. And I'm like, what is going on? Why is this, seemingly like spirit like talking to me now, you know? And that phenomena of Henry Dixon coming through my devices basically happened consistently for the next 3 years. No matter where I was, anything I would turn on,
Oh my God.
it would say, when I'd get a name, it would say Henry Dixon. And then I started getting messages of like frustration because it was telling me that I'm a bad person because I don't listen. And of course, I'm a skeptical believer in all this stuff.
Sure.
And I'm trying to make sense of how this is even possible and why would somebody, like you said, why would someone want to hang out with you? I'm like, why would someone hang out with me?
Right.
Or how did I look like some sort of like, you know, why hundreds of people go through that tunnel. It's like, why am I the person that all of a sudden is like, you know, tied to this Henry Dixon phenomena? I mean, it was just, it was almost too weird for me. Right. And I got to the point where I'd almost get annoyed because I'd be states away at times and this Henry Dixon would come through my devices. We're talking multiple different devices and it was just super strange. And so it was finally during the shutdown of COVID where nobody was moving, nobody was doing anything. I had one of these devices in my backyard and I was just basically like tuning it up and like, you know, checking it out. And something started to chatter through it. And I'm like, someone wanted to talk? Henry. I was like, here we go. And
Shit,
yeah, so
Henry.
this is in 2020. And so
Yeah.
I'm in my backyard.
And what
and
year did you go to the tunnel?
It was like 2017, 2016, something like that. So I'm in my backyard once again. It starts saying Henry Dixon. And I'm like, am I the crazy one here?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, you know, Henry, if you're really here with me, what color is my shirt? And I wear like a lot of black, but that day I had on this really cool alien shirt with a UFO on it with, you know, lyrics from Hotel California, Dark Desert Highway.
Yeah.
And it's yellow and a yellow shirt. And it says, and I'm at this point, I'm videoing everything because this is just too weird. And I'm like, what color is my shirt? And it tells me I'm wearing a yellow shirt. I'm like, okay, what do you need from me? You know, it's like, if this is real,
Sure.
it's like, I'm all in at this point.
Brother, how can I help?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
What's your Dixon?
yeah. Yeah. I'm like, what can I do for you? And I got a message and it said, take me to her. And I'm like, okay, deal. I have no idea what that means,
Right.
but I'm going to do it.
But we're doing this.
So it turns out that Henry was married when he was murdered. As a matter of fact, his wife was pregnant when he was murdered. He never got to meet his child. And ironically, fun fact, his daughter is buried here in Columbus, Indiana.
Oh, wow.
So there's another wild thing I found out. But Henry's wife, which I just assumed that maybe he meant take me to his wife,
Right.
is buried in this place called the Proctor Cemetery outside of Fort Ritner, Indiana. We're talking like Damon Bailey country, I mean,
Right.
way out in the middle of nowhere.
What kind of research went into you finding all this out?
Like I said, I have a friend who does a lot of historical research
Yeah.
and so forth. And it's amazing the stuff you can find from like newspapers.com and just
Sure.
like different sites and so forth. So she's the one that directed me to this Fort Ritner cemetery, Proctor Cemetery, where Henry's wife was or was buried. And it turns out Henry is buried there too. And of course, that just brought up more questions. It's like, dude, you were killed in the tunnel. You're obviously buried in the same place. Why didn't you just meet her there? You know, I don't know. I don't understand how any of this works. I mean, there's so many disconnects, you know, logically that
Sure.
it just kind of freaking have to just go with it. You know, it's like, I'm going to follow this narrative and suspend my own personal, just whatever. I'm just
Right.
rolling with it. So one day during COVID, I load up my Jeep with some of my weirdo shit and so a few cases. And my wife's like, where are you going? I'm like, don't ask. It's like trying to explain to the woman that just found the skeleton in my basement and I'm giving a ghost a ride is, you know, it's a tough sell.
You're like, if I told you, you probably wouldn't believe me.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So I freaking go to this Proctor Cemetery, which is in the middle. I mean, it's a picturesque. I mean, we're talking like hillside, freaking beautiful. And there's a chapel in the middle of this old cemetery, and the chapel's called the Dixon Chapel. So Henry Dixon's entire family is buried around this Dixon Chapel and the Proctor Cemetery. And we're talking the wrought iron gate. I mean, it's just like something out of a scene of a movie, right?
That's wild.
And the headstones there's a section of like old headstones that the old obelisk type headstones, right? And so I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm here, and I got out of my Jeep and I walked into the graveyard, and I instinctively, I guess, walked straight up to Henry's grave. We're talking like graves that were like super old, and it's just like I knew exactly where he was buried. I walked straight to it. And I walked up straight to it, and I got emotional. Like, I don't know what any of this means, or what I'm supposed to be doing here, but it kind of choked me up because it was just so weird and so strange and so out of my comfort zone of what my experiences have been to this point. And the next thing I noticed on his tombstone, K of P. He was a Knight of Pythias, just like the skeleton I had in my house, which I know is just a coincidence. But the irony didn't. And I was like, do I have the skeleton of Henry Dixon in my basement? Is this where this is all going? But anyway, so I kind of wandered around a little bit, and I found his wife's grave too. So I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm all in. I'm committed. I got out some of my weird equipment, started firing things up, and basically facilitated a conversation. And I got a male and female voice that thanked me profusely. And then I'm like, is there anything else I can do for you? And it said, never come back. And I said, don't worry about it. I never will. And I left, and I never heard from Henry Dixon again. And so to this day, I have no idea what I did in all that or what it meant. But it kind of changed my perspective of, maybe certain potential of what any of this means.
Sure.
Yeah, it kind of widened my mindset a little bit. Like, that was super kooky, super strange. I can't explain it, but
so were you able to document any of this?
Oh yeah, it's on my blog.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I wrote not only like a heartfelt blog about it, but the video too. It's like, listen, man, I'm not doing any of this shit for to get famous, to get popular, but this is a story of what, from my perspective, seemingly happened, and I don't know what any of it means, but yeah, it's on there.
So you went instinctively, walked to his grave,
straight to it,
and then
straight to it.
Found her grave.
I didn't have to wander. I just went straight to it and realized what I did, and that freaked me out.
Oh yeah, I'd
So
be
strange.
like, yeah, fuck this shit.
Now, did the grave have like dates on it that matched everything?
Oh yeah, it was
wild.
his grave.
How far is the grave from the big tunnel?
Man, as the crow flies, I wouldn't think that far, man. Maybe within 10 miles. I mean, I could be off, but I mean, it's all kind of in the same relative area of Tunnelton, which is like no man's land in Indiana,
That's so wild.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I would have been able to. I just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, before that happened, did you think that you would have been able to carry something like that out?
No, because I've always been one against, you see all these like people who are really into the woo and like they're doing spirit rescue work and they're like crossing spirits over into the light. All this stuff that they claim. I'm like, how are you crossing something into the light when you can't even explain what it is? Right. And where is the light? And who told you that you had the garage door opener to open up the light for them to go through?
Right.
And you know what I mean? You could go down so many rabbit holes with this stuff. So I've never been one. It's like, I'm not into spirit rescue work. I'm not here to like help anybody. I'm not your ghost exterminator or your exorcist. I just want to like document history and weird things. And I found myself caught up in this super weird situation that I still don't know exactly what happened, but it is
the craziest. Again, hearing the story for the second time, and I'm still over here like what?
Yeah,
like it just blows my mind.
I feel that way every time I tell it because
it
feels silly for me to talk about it, even though I lived it, because it's so like against like the way I present 99.9% of the things that I document.
Sure.
So it became like a really weird personal story. And there's, I guess, I hope Henry Dixon found what he was looking for, and I hope he's okay for whatever that was worth.
Yeah. So what does that even like? So you're standing over his grave. and you're like, down there is buried like this guy that I've been fucking talking to.
This guy's been watching me for 4 years. The
Like
things that he has seen.
How is this even right?
Yeah, he's just like, brother, I never want to look you in the face again. You're like,
He's so sick of me.
Right.
Yeah.
But like to see, I just can't imagine like having a personal relationship, which you do, with something that's buried beneath you.
Well, I don't know if Henry was truly always with me, or if maybe this works like Facebook Messenger. Maybe he would just see when I was online and available.
Every now and again, he'd be like, "What are you doing?
hey, homie, what's up?
He would slide in my DMs.
Slide in your DMs.
Yeah.
Just,
Hey,
what are
homie,
you doing?
Turn that thing on.
Yeah,
that thing
and
on.
I mean, it's not like I felt like I got to know him. It's not like I walked around talking to him. 90% of the time I was annoyed because
Sure.
and I would get in locations where I had like an objective of something that I knew some cool history, and I wanted to like see if I could interact with that space. And I got this dude that died, in this tunnel, like hundreds of miles away,
Right.
And he's the one that's trying to talk to me, and I'd be like, dude, I mean, if you're gonna be here, at least help.
Right.
Can you help me out? I mean,
Right.
can you go find, this person that supposedly died in this
Right.
space?
We'll
You know
do
what
your
I mean?
thing in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll get
It's
to your
like,
thing.
You
Okay.
scratch my back, I'll scratch yours,
Right.
So, yeah,
Help a guy out, Mr. Henry.
it was a strange deal.
I wonder why. What'll haunt me forever? Because dude, it sounds like a movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
It sounds like a movie, and that's cool as shit to have that story and it sound like a movie. But it sounds like the movie with the perfect ending.
Right.
Never come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Credits.
like, brother, leave us
Right.
alone.
Never come back.
He's like, the thing I've seen you do in the last
Credits.
3 years,
And
dude,
that's it.
I don't ever. I don't have to explain this to my wife.
You got skeletons in your basement, bro. Get out of
Because there's
I don't want to
there's
have to explain this to anybody, dude. All my friends are here now. I don't want to have to.
my whole family.
Yeah,
because there's no reason for something to tell you to never come back.
Well, and the thing is, if ghosts have anything to do with the human soul not being at rest and so forth, why do you need your grave? Why is that significant? Why can't you get there on your own? Why are you stuck seemingly in a place where you were murdered? Why is that the place you, if we have free will, did you choose that? Are you attached to the space that you were murdered in? And
why do you need me?
Why do you need a human taxi? Why do you need an Uber Lyft to get you
Sure.
over there? I mean, none of it really makes sense.
None.
None whatsoever. I can't explain it. I have no idea to this day. Yeah, it was just a strange thing that I could not reconcile. But I mean,
it's 4 years of your life,
yeah,
which is wild.
and
Kevin just
the
popping
fact,
in, dude.
yeah, and the fact that, like I said, multiple
Henry
locations
popping
and a lot of the devices and stuff that I use for this type of experimentation, a lot of it's like theoretical too. But
Sure.
when I'm using these devices that are actually like only producing like reverse speech audio, so anything that's in the mix comes out backwards, so you shouldn't hear any forward speech at all.
Right.
And if you do hear forward speech, it's it's more interesting, and some of it can be considered maybe anomalous when it says I'm Henry Dixon. We met
Right.
at the big tunnel.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like it's baffling. I have no idea.
What do you mean? We met. You're dead as shit.
Think about them naming a town fucking Tunnelton, dude. It's like
Yeah,
we're digging
it's
this
kinda
big ass
funny.
tunnel. What are we gonna do here? What we call it? Tunnelton.
What?
Yeah.
How else would you name a town though? Why are
I
we
don't
here?
know.
We're digging a big tunnel. All right. What do we call the place?
Tunnelton.
Ethiopia.
I feel like
Why?
I feel like Henry is probably just like, I died in a place called fucking Tunnelton, dude.
Yeah, get me
Get me out of here.
Get me outta here.
Get me out of here,
Fort
brother.
Rittner sounds cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fort Rittner, and that's all Lawrence County,
Yeah. Where was Damon Bailey from?
Bedford,
Heltonville.
Heltonville. Yeah.
Yeah,
Lawrence,
because
Lawrence
I
County.
remember seeing signs for that as I was searching for this Fort Rittner place, and Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if that meant like never come back to the cemetery or never revisit the big tunnel. And I'm like, man, I got so spooked by this whole thing. I'm like, so if I go in the big tunnel, is this all going to freaking reset like Groundhog Day? Or what do you mean don't come back?
Like you're going to go to the big tunnel and Henry Dixon's going to be like, motherfucker.
I fucking told you, dude.
You had one job.
Now we got to go through all this shit again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say I doubt that's the case, but I have
keep getting sucked back
literal
into you.
no reason to say that I doubt that's the case because who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's all so unexplainable.
I just for once I listened, and so I'm going to prove that I can hold on, and I'm going to keep up my end of the deal on that.
But again, it's like you said, that experience taught you so much. It sparked some research on your end. There's so much to learn about this world that we're in, and there's so much like that out there.
And it led to more questions, which we talked about in the beginning.
Yeah.
How I have this thing on my blog where I wrote this years ago where I said let your wonder light your wander.
Right.
And so it led to more questions, which is I think a beautiful thing to be able to ponder these things. And these are things that you'll never probably have the answers to, but at the same time, the ability to ask questions and just to be able to, wonder about the world and our reality. And I think probably at the end of the day, we're going to find out that consciousness plays such a big role in all this.
Sure.
And because that's something that we can't define. That's something that we can't explain.
Right.
And I have a feeling that all this is probably more normal than what we know.
Than what we can perceive as reality.
In this reality.
Yeah.
So stupid dimensions.
Stupid dimensions.
Dimensions ruin everything.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Now I'll never meet Sasquatch.
Thanks a lot, Al Gore.
He's in the next dimension with the female orgasm. Things I'll never see.
Never see, dude.
Oh, God. I don't know why I make that joke. I know why I make that joke. I do it because I'm divorced now. That's why I make that joke.
Did you throw
now.
your ring in the? Did you throw your ring in the Venetian
No, I
river
did not.
with
throw.
the gondola ride? Did you get serenaded?
So, you've been to Vegas,
Oh wait,
right?
my thing shut off.
Okay. Huh?
My thing shut off, or my headphone shut off.
They did?
Can you hear me through the mic still?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear me through the mic still.
I mean, hold on. Let's see here. Talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe just my headphones crapped out.
That's weird.
Maybe
Ghost, man.
Yeah.
It's got a little. It's dangling pretty good. So mine don't touch the floor.
Henry Dixon's like, stop telling that fucking story.
Yeah, he's like, will you shut the fuck up, dude? I can't listen to you talk anymore.
But no, so we made a joke on the podcast that I was going to go to Vegas, take a Venetian gondola ride, cry as I was the only one in the gondola with the guy like steering the gondola and singing, and I'm just sitting there crying, and I dropped my wedding ring.
Patrick added the
fucking
crying part.
Yeah, he did.
I said
It's a very Patrick thing to do.
Yeah, I said you're just gonna have your ring and just toss it over the side.
Toss it in the fucking canal or whatever.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah.
They go to clean it, and they're like, another one clogged the fucking pump up.
Right. No, my ring is in a jewelry box at my house.
There you go. You have a jewelry box.
Pretty normal place to. Well, it was my wife's. She didn't take it.
It left you with your half.
Right.
The jewelry box.
Get a jewelry box and my TV.
I say Allie doesn't own a jewelry box.
I don't even actually think it's a jewelry box. It's a whole storage thing with a jewelry drawer.
Okay.
It's in that drawer.
I just put mine wherever I can find.
Well, see, that's the thing. If I don't put it somewhere I can find, I won't find.
Yeah, see, that's where I find it later. I'm like, fuck, dude, I forgot I had this bling. What are we doing? Like, let's fucking...
Like, I'm going to do that one day. Like, I'm just going to revisit wearing my wedding ring. I'll be like,
forgot to turn my
got me a
fucking
ring,
swag off
boys.
last night, dude.
No, I don't think so. I got to let this tan line go away, and
Still fresh, dude.
it's still real fresh.
You get a UV light, you're just over here fucking...
I still got an indention. You know
Really?
what I mean? It'll be.
I've never
it'll be a
worn
while.
I like me and Allie, we don't even have rings. I've never even worn one.
It's a bootleg wedding.
Yeah. We got married at the end of our driveway, dude.
Who did it? Caleb?
Caleb. Yeah. We went, like when Amelia went through all her stuff in the NICU, it was just easier to both have the same name.
Matt?
Yes, sir.
Dude, we appreciate you so much for
Dude,
coming
hour and a
doing
half.
this.
That went fast.
Yeah. Hey, can I plug two things real quick?
You can plug whatever you want.
Whatever you
Okay.
want.
Yeah,
So,
please do.
This coming Friday, November 1st, anniversary of the Mill Raised Monster.
Yeah.
Yes, reminding people. But the Bartholomew County Historical Society is doing a haunted history walking tour of downtown. And I think it goes from like maybe 5 to 9 or something like that. But the cool thing about it is they're going to have actors stationed downtown that are going to be playing like the roles of people who are like, prominent figures in these various locations around the downtown. And these locations also have ghost stories associated with them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be in the Crump that night. So while you're doing your walking tour, you can either come see me in the Crump before the tour, the walking tour, or at the very end. And I'm going to do a short video presentation and show some of the weirder things that I've recorded in these locations that people are visiting that night with actors.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be a pretty fun thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I got that going on. And then on November 7th, which is a Thursday night, it is a 1 hour long event through Landmark Columbus, where you meet at the Landmark Columbus office down on like 6th Street, downtown. Yeah. And everybody gets a beer, and they're going to follow me down to Millrace, and I'm going to walk people through the Millrace Monster story.
No fucking way.
Yeah, so we're going to go through the 4 sightings of the Millrace Monster and just kind of recount that story, drink our beer, and call it a night.
Okay, so first of all, the
You
haunted
chicken
history.
scratch that down over there.
I did the haunted history walking tour. How do you sign up for that, or do you sign up for that?
You can get tickets on Eventbrite, and I think like Viewpoint, the Crump, the Historical Society. You could get tickets.
Do you know how much
any
they
other
are?
Places. It's on the website. I don't remember, man. Yeah.
Okay. So just the Historical Society's website.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
And then the Millrace Monster story. Same question. Like, how do you get involved in that?
That's through Landmark Columbus. They have a link. I actually put the link up on like my Paraholics Facebook page,
Okay.
and stuff like that. So you can find tickets easy.
Historical Society.
Yeah. So those are the last things I got going on for this spooky season. So I'm pretty excited about those two.
Yeah, no doubt. So, like, when you talk about Halloween, are you a big Halloween guy?
Oh, I've always been fascinated with Halloween and the history of the how the whole thing started. So,
Sure.
Yeah. I think it's really cool.
You like costume guy?
When the kids were younger, or some like parties I've been to, but
He's got a fucking skeleton, dude. You don't need a costume.
Yeah.
He just burnies that thing around.
The thing about having a skeleton and owning a skeleton is you can put that on your front porch, and people are just like, "Oh, cool! Look, that guy's got a skeleton."
Yeah.
It's not real. Like nobody thinks it's real.
Yeah, that thing was so old and fragile. I was super paranoid about when I drug him out, so I would never use poor Billy Bones as a prop.
He's 200 years old. He can't take
you're like,
vitamin D
"Fuck,
anymore.
He's old,
right.
dude.
Super
he
fragile.
He can't drink calcium, dude.
Right.
He hasn't drank enough milk in his life. Fuck, Billy, we talked about this.
So that's pretty cool. This Friday night, the Historical Society walking tour of downtown.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
And if
Yeah.
you're not interested in hearing the ghost stuff, just stay away from the Crump. Other than that, you can just do the downtown tour and listen to the actors give their spiel about the prominent person and that is associated with that space.
So now, is that a guided walking tour
No,
or
self-guided.
self-guided?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Very
you
cool.
can do it at your own pace.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty good date night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's a great date
Hopefully
night.
the weather's
actually.
nice.
I think
You know
Friday's
what?
supposed to be beautiful.
Even if it's not beautiful, it's spooky season, man.
That's right.
You can do a scattered thunderstorm,
Whatever, dude.
maybe a little cool breeze. Maybe it's a weird front. Maybe it's my aunt. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know, dude.
That's the
Yeah.
best part. I don't know.
Drop 13 degrees, dude.
The Millrace Monster story. So you kind of badgered me about creating Monster Fest,
Yeah.
and then you went and created Monster Fest.
No,
That you went and created.
No, I bitched enough
Okay.
that I wanted somebody to do something about it. And finally, Richard McCoy that runs Landmark Columbus, he's like, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this up and you can walk people around the park and tell them about the monster. So that's all we're doing.
I think it needs more.
Yeah.
I think we need a couple live bands.
Oh man, it'd be so much fun.
Millrace
Yeah.
Monster Fest. Have everybody
Yeah.
dressed up as the Millrace Monster.
Dude, I wanted people like running a 5K dressed as the Millrace Monster.
So what if everyone dresses like the Millrace Monster and he just straight up comes out like, bro, no one's gonna know I'm the real
no
one.
one's gonna know.
Yeah, they're like, man, where'd you get your costume? It's like
Then
movie quality.
inside your mind, you can know that the Millrace Monster got one fucking night where he could just Be himself.
Yeah, he's like, fuck, I don't even have to pretend anymore.
I don't have to hide.
Yeah, they're like,
I don't got
"My
this
God,
weird
Where did you get the smell for
I
this
got this
costume,
weird Ed
man?"
Sheeran guy wondering what my cock looks like.
Yeah, no, that's not the Mike Millrace guy. Dude.
I
His
think
too.
It's a cousin. It's a cousin.
It's a cousin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For that matter. I'm like, hey, brother,
Could
I
very
gotta
well
go
be
pee.
a
You
Red
need
Rocket,
to go,
bro.
I gotta go pee. You need to
He's
go.
like, hey,
Yeah.
check out Harry Green. Here we go.
Yeah. So that's awesome, dude. Anything
Yeah.
else you got before we go?
No, man. I mean, anybody that wants to check out the blog, check out the
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Feel free
So
to reach out.
paraholics.com, and again, I'll put I got kind of a not that I got a screenshot there
Yeah.
of the website and what it looks like.
Yeah,
when you
recently
go on mobile.
Yeah, I recently moved to Substack, so I'm slowly getting a lot of my old posts transferred over and updating some of them. So
Okay.
I try to get all the posts up that I have for like the downtown locations for the Friday night event, so
Yeah.
people can go and check those out. So
Very cool.
A lot of cool history downtown Columbus that people
There
don't
is.
know
There's
about.
so much cool history
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
They're shooting a movie there right now.
It
What
just wrapped up today. It just
Yeah,
wrapped
yeah.
up,
What is that?
It's called like Mastermind.
Yeah, it's a like early '70s heist movie, and they wanted to shoot a few scenes at our local library.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
like I looked at it was like a legit set and everything. Like it was like
I
yeah.
wonder if Leo DiCaprio's in it.
I was telling everybody it's Forrest Gump too.
No, there yeah,
That's
dude,
perfect.
no, there
I wonder if
there-
Leo DiCaprio would be in that.
the guy
I won't go watch it
The
if he's
guy
not.
that's like the lead guy, he was in like La Miserable or whatever, like that.
Les Mis.
Les
You can
Mis.
just say Les Mis.
Okay.
No one knows how to pronounce
Yeah,
it.
me neither. Les Mis. So he was in that movie. He was in like a few other like The Crown or something like that. Like,
Yeah?
I think he's a British actor. Is the main guy. Is in
Very
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Tyler, me, you got anything you want to say before we go?
Do not, dude. Do
All
not
right, then. Well, I guess
get
that's
spooky. Go hand out candy tomorrow. And
Yes.
If you hand out apples, turn your fucking light off.
Yeah, please. And if you hand out drugs,
Turn your light on.
call me.
Yeah. Turn your light on.
Everybody, remember back in the day when everybody was like, "Well, you got to watch this house. They're handing out edibles." No, they're not.
No, they're not going to give those to you for free.
They're not.
I promise.
They're not handing out edibles.
Yeah.
No.
Better watch out. You're gonna find the fucking
Laced with drugs. No, they didn't.
the demon of Sauron in your Snickers bar. Yeah.
The only
dude.
thing you're going to get is a donut on a
dude,
broom.
when you get-
Nobody should grab a donut from a broom.
No.
Fucking nobody.
When you get older, you realize that all your parents did was take your candy and be like, "Yeah, I gotta check it," and
Make
then they
sure,
just took
yeah.
all the good shit out of it. You're like, "Where the fuck are my milk duds?
Right.
Who the fuck is gonna do something to a milk dud?" Yeah, you could be a razor blade in there. I'm sure I would see a razor blade hanging out of a fucking milk dud.
We ate so many
You think
razor
you would.
blades back in the '80s, man.
Yeah,
We
dude.
didn't tell about it.
Or at least they thought we did.
Made
Yeah,
It's
dude,
Judas
my
Priest
dad,
fans.
imagine, like, we had like 8 fucking kids. Did you know how much candy my fucking parents got?
Right.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ, what'd you do with all of it?
Right on. Well, guys, I appreciate you for being here.
Hey, man, thank you so
Tyler,
much.
as always. I'm Sean B.
time.
This has been the Mind Snacks podcast. What?
So it was a good time.
Oh, yeah, always. Now have a good night.
Good time.
Let's
Good
get out
night.
of here.
Good night.